More than 10 million people died not in wars, but at work, in jobs where death was treated as an acceptable cost of productivity rather than a failure of the system. Coal miners crushed underground, factory workers poisoned over years, construction laborers buried alive, and sailors lost at sea were not considered victims of tragedy, but replaceable labor, whose deaths barely slowed production. In some industries, entire generations of workers died before reaching 40, while companies and governments continued operating as usual, because stopping work was always more expensive than losing people. These jobs killed millions over centuries, quietly and continuously, without battles, without enemies, and without anyone officially calling it mass death. And that is exactly why they were allowed to continue for so long. Mining. Millions buried alive. Mining was not just dangerous, it was systematically lethal. Coal mines alone are estimated to have killed over 5 million workers worldwide across the last few centuries, and this number does not include those who died slowly from lung disease after years underground. Miners were crushed by collapses, burned alive by gas explosions, suffocated when oxygen disappeared, or poisoned over time as coal dust destroyed their lungs from the inside. In several regions of Europe and Asia, historical records show that up to 1/3 of miners died before reaching 40, not because of accidents, but because the job itself destroyed the body. When a miner died underground, the response was simple. Another worker took his place the next day. There were no investigations, no safety upgrades, and no pauses in production, because coal was worth more than the people extracting it. Construction. Death as a business expense. Major construction projects killed workers on an industrial scale. The Panama Canal alone caused over 25,000 worker deaths, mostly from disease, exhaustion, and unsafe conditions, while railroads across Europe, Asia, and America killed hundreds of thousands more. Workers fell from heights, were buried alive during landslides, drowned in flooded trenches, or died from infections that spread rapidly through overcrowded camps. Construction never stopped for the dead. It continued because replacing a worker was cheaper than delaying the project, and progress was measured in speed, not survival. Factories slow poison every day. Factories did not kill quickly, they killed continuously. During the Industrial Revolution, factory labor caused millions of deaths through toxic exposure, crushed limbs, untreated injuries, and extreme exhaustion. Workers inhaled chemicals that destroyed their lungs, lost arms and legs to unguarded machines, and collapsed after working 12 to 14 hours a day in lethal environments. In some industries, average life expectancy dropped below 30 years, and child labor was common, meaning many workers died before reaching adulthood. These deaths were not accidents. They were the expected outcome of working conditions designed to maximize output, not survival. Sailors and fishermen lost without records. Working at sea has always been one of the most dangerous jobs in history. Shipwrecks, storms, disease, starvation, and isolation killed millions of sailors and fishermen over centuries, often without leaving bodies or records behind. Entire crews vanished without explanation, swallowed by the ocean, while companies simply sent out new ships with new men. These deaths rarely caused outrage and were dismissed as occupational risk. Agriculture, death on the land. Agricultural labor killed millions long before modern industry. Workers died from machinery accidents, untreated injuries, infections, pesticide poisoning, and sheer physical exhaustion, especially in regions without labor protections. For centuries, working the land meant constant exposure to conditions that shortened life dramatically, while food production continued without interruption. Farming did not look violent, but it killed relentlessly. Why work killed more than wars? Wars are explosive and visible. Work was slow and invisible, one death at a time, every day for centuries. A single worker dying was never news, and thousands dying over decades blended into statistics that no one wanted to examine. These jobs did not end economies, did not require enemies, and did not stop production.